Hey there, it's a Funky Friday.
Yay.
She's the diva. He's the notorious R.O.B. I am Brucifer. And here are the stories everyone's talking about. We call it the playlist. Well, an attack that brought back bad memories. A campus police officer was killed at Virginia Tech yesterday. The police officer was ambushed by a gunman. Apparently, he pulled somebody over on campus for, running a stoplight. And this guy came up, shot the officer while he sat in the car, then ran away and shot himself. Obviously, freaking a lot of people out of Virginia Tech. This morning, they said the gunman was not a student at Virginia Tech. So This is just odd.
It is odd. It did freak a lot of people out. And I thought the ironic thing of it all is actually there was a lot of Virginia Tech administrators and actually the head of campus police were in D.C. yesterday talking about the 2007 shooting ahead of the federal hearing. So they weren't even on campus when this happened.
What I noticed yesterday, I think that impressed me the most was that it didn't seem that everybody over panicked. A lot of times in stories like this, it was let's react, let's go through the process and let's do it the right way,
system,
rather than just throw everything to the wall and just see what happens. So I applaud news agencies, Virginia Tech Police, the campus for taking the right steps.
Track 2. All right, I've heard about catching a cold from a friend or a family member, but what about catching a yawn?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
No, seriously. Well,
come to think
we think about yawns being contagious.
Yeah.
The next time you yawn, look around and see who did it first. Was it a friend or a family member? Because they found that yawns are kind of linked to empathy. The more you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes, the more likely you are to yawn. So you'll do it with a family member more so than a stranger.
Let's try it out right now.
Oh, stop it, Rob!
I find it hard to believe because I don't normally have any empathy, but I find myself doing it all the time. You're right. It just kind of goes around the room. That's odd. I need to have that removed.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
What income would you guys say, this is when I'm rich? I'm making X amount of dollars per year.
Hey. Wow.
Enough to afford a G4.
All right, so we're talking millions and millions of dollars. Okay.
A couple of 100,000.
All right, well, you got Pamela's close. The median answer?
Median.
150 grand a year.
That's rich.
Yeah, that's what people consider rich. Well, you asked that question, that's what they'd say, well off. About, let's see, let me get the numbers here. 11% said over $1 million.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I would say. I'm in that 11%. If I'm rich, I'm making like several million a year.
Yes, let's play big bank, take little bank. That's when you know you're rich. Seriously, and you think about this, I also think it has a lot to do with where you live.
Yeah.
Because you know what? $150,000 in Tucson is a lot different than 150 grand in New York City.
True.
I'm not saying you're going to miss meals in either one of them, but you're going to have a vastly different lifestyle.
Yeah, you know what? I also think rich is relative, along those lines, too. You got to depend on people's situations. If they've been out of work for the last 3 years, $150,000 is a ton of cash.
Lottery.
Track 4.
Are you worried about all those illegal immigrants pouring across the border? Yeah, well, you shouldn't be. The reason is the number of illegal immigrants already caught crossing the border is down about 25%. The numbers, they're saying, haven't been this low since Richard Nixon was president, and I think we all remember what an unbelievable flow of illegals there were across the border back then. Mm-hmm. Why? A lot of people saying, sure, there's tougher enforcement, but the economy has a lot to do with it. They're not coming because there's no jobs.
Right. You know what? And thinking about it, in the newsroom, we would get updates all the time of drop houses in this part of the valley, or this drop house, or that drop house. Mm-hmm. We're not getting those kinds of alerts as often anymore, and so there's a drop in drop houses even.
One of the other things they say is higher smuggling fees, too. So it's becoming more dangerous. There's more enforcement. They probably take more treacherous paths. So the smugglers, the guys that are walking them, the coyotes, if you will. I just like to say it like that.
Coyotes.
Coyotes. They're probably saying, well, look, there's a premium for this because we have to go up hills. We have to go in the hot part of the desert and all this other stuff. So that's slowing it down as well.
Track 5.
Okay, will he stay or will he go? I don't know if you guys have heard the rumors out there that Matt Lauer may be leaving the Today Show. Yeah. So who would replace him?
Yeah.
Guess whose name keeps coming up to the top of the list
Bruce
here?
St. James.
No, I should.
He's second on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Ryan Seacrest. The reality star Ryan Seacrest. Talks only preliminary. Lauer hasn't even said that he's really leaving yet. But one of the upsides to all this, guys,
what would that be?
If Seacrest does leave, go there. Well, it might be the end of the Kardashians.
Why is that?
Because he's the producer of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
So I'm torn between this because it would not that I watched the Today Show anyways, but I think it would ruin its credibility even further. But then again, if I have no Kardashians,
It's kind
what's
of
the
a
trade-off?
Boy, that's
What's
a
the
tough
trade-off
one, isn't
here?
it? There's a moral dilemma for you.
That is.
I'm not a friend of Ryan's, but I've known Ryan for 20 years now. I met
okay.
him many, many years ago. He's a radio DJ as well.
Yeah,
And
big
that's
show.
really where he started from. And Ryan's actually, honestly, guys, he's a very nice person. He's a very nice person. I think it'll be interesting. And you know what? I learned from watching a movie this week, he's Mr. New Year's Eve now. So why not? He ought to go to New York.
Okay.
Might as well do it.
Track 6.
All right, my old state, Massachusetts.
Yes.
It's becoming like Florida where a lot of crazy things happen.
That's where it happened.
And you know my theory, everybody's a criminal, right?
They are.
Well, that is definitely the case for 80-year-old Claire Butcher. You want to know what she did?
What
guys?
did she
The
do?
80-year-old?
Obviously, rob a
She's
bank?
Feeding the birds in a park
No.
in Lynn, Massachusetts.
Really?
It isn't so.
Yeah, she's been doing it for 45 years. Cops are going to charge her with a no trespassing charge.
Are you kidding?
Because the ducks are going to the bathroom too much in the park.
So their argument is
jeez.
that she's a criminal because by feeding the ducks, they poop in the park.
Yes.
What do they think was going to happen to the ducks anyway? They just want the ducks to starve to death? Then they'd have to pick up duck carcasses.
What does this world come to when you're harassing an old lady for
Well,
feeding
don't get me
ducks
started.
in a park?
See? You guys are coming around to my
Coming
side of
around
the fence
here. Well,
now.
I'll tell you what,
know?
you're onto
We're trying to
something.
arrest everybody.
There it is. They're all criminals. That is the playlist. 9:30, 10:30, and 11:30. We get you caught up on the stories that people are talking about. It's called The Playlist.